When all of this violence happens, it gives you a sense of the enormity of the task of being a good human being in the world. It gets at a lot of the important themes of the character and of the film. Wolverine as a character has been around in the pages of Marvel Comics for many decades, and in a lot of his stories, we've seen how much he lives with the burden of the violence that he's done in the past and the violence he's capable of doing. He serves as something of a metaphor for how tempting it is to give in to your own base impulses and be horrible to other people.
1, I have a lawyer now. 2, 3.
In the movie, we see a world where all this violence is done on a regular basis, and it's easy for him to do that violence. And that conveys to us the difficulty of finding empathy and finding compassion for other people in such a fallen world. This is a movie that decided it's going to be violent, and it's going to be violent in style. Director James Mangold and his visual team were able to come up with fight sequences that look really unlike anything else you've seen in a superhero film. Now, of course, they're horrifically bloody, and that may not be what you want to see in a superhero film. But if it is what you're going for, you'll find it utterly thrilling to see the way that these fights are set up and executed. We see so many superhero pictures every year, and the fact is, almost all of them are just as ultra-violent as Logan. We just don't think of them that way because there's no blood, there's no bruising. You don't see the consequences of violence. In a movie like Captain America: Civil War, people get punched and shot at and tossed around like rag dolls, but we don't see what that means to anybody. The power that is being used there has no consequence and therefore very little responsibility. And what's good in good superhero fiction is a discussion of the consequences of what you can do with massive power. Logan really does that, and my hope is that future superhero movies will learn things from this about how you can portray violence. My only hope is that they don't just start doing violence for violence's sake, and instead use this as a jumping off point for a big step forward for the superhero genre.